and then we'll do our introductions and head into the rest of our time together today.
Sorry, Ray, did you say bring up the minutes or are we doing introductions first?
No, we're going to do introductions first. I was just waiting until 12:05 was the OCAC unofficial informal trauma informed policy is that we actually start our meetings 5 minutes after, just so people don't feel stressed about being late if they come at 12:04. Okay, so now it's 12:05. So let's go ahead and start. And what we're going to do is just have a quick intro of who's here today. And if you could just say your name and share your pronouns, if you'd like to share your pronouns, and where you're coming in from, where you're zooming in from, and your connection to the council. Those will be the things that we share. And if you want to share other stuff, you're welcome to do that as well, but I'll go just really quickly, and then we'll choose the next person to go. So I'm Rhea. I am the facilitator of this subcommittee, the Trauma Informed Systems Subcommittee. I'm a member of OCAC. I use she, her, and also they, them pronouns. I am in Portland, Oregon. I'm a peer wellness specialist, currently working on a new peer wellness specialist training curriculum with Cascadia Health. And I have lived experience in a variety of forms the whole buffet table, as I like to say. All right, so JD, would you like to go next?
Not a problem. Hello, everybody. It's JD. I use they, them, or turtle for pronouns. I am in Springfield and work in Eugene, so I just claim the whole area. I am a peer as well as a CADC, CGRM, and 1,000 other initials, but it all equals a lot of lived experience and using that lived experience to walk alongside others, including being part of the council. And Luke, would you like to go next?
Hi, this is Reverend Luke Walters, also known as Luke A. Shooting Star. I've been a member of the council surviving in government relations and self-development for almost 11 years. And this has been a very powerful part of my development as an advocate. And I'm currently the champion of the media, peer delivered services media committee, subcommittee, and lead of the outreach team. It would be helpful for people to know that outside of the council, currently the Swami CEO, founder of a mutual benefit society called Global Community Designs, and shortly I'm going to probably be off of the council, so I'm going to be focusing most of my efforts on one of our programs called the Wellness Initiative Network. I'm also a trained peer wellness specialist, and tying this all together for community benefit is really a passion of mine. So can I pass it on to Molly?
Sure. Hi, I'm Molly Griggs.
Hey.
My day job is working at Cascadia Health. I am related to the council by virtue of being the current chair. I use she, her pronouns. I am a person with lived and living experience, and also have a buffet of lived experience as a consumer, as a survivor, as the parent of consumers, the child of, etc. So lots of different lived experience. And I'm passionate about finding ways that we can all work together to further the support of the most vulnerable individuals in our state. And I will pass it to Kendall.
Hello, my name is Kendall Burns, and I use she, her pronouns. I work in the Office of Recovery and Resilience. and I am the Peer Run Respite Coordinator, person with lived and living experience. Really happy to be here. I used to be in this subcommittee a bit more and love the work that's happening here. So thank you. I will popcorn it over. Has JD has gone? JD, you went. Yeah. Okay. Let me popcorn it over to Charm.
Hey everyone, Sharmali Nataraja, she, her pronouns, Community Engagement Analyst for the Office of Recovery and Resilience. And I'll pass it to, let me see, JP, as he hasn't gone.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is JP Parsons. I work for the Office of Recovery and Resilience. I'm one of the other community engagement analysts. I focus on rural communities, live in Central Oregon, and I'm currently out about in community. So just wanted to sit in here and support this wonderful work.
JP, it's so great whenever you can join us. You too, Kendall. And Ashley, would you do just a little brief introduction? We'll do a fuller introduction when you do your presentation.
Yeah, my name's Ashley Teeters, she, her pronouns, with Live, Grow, Share in Eugene, Oregon. And I'm a guest here today.
Yay, so glad you're here. Maria, I'm not sure if you're on, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Good afternoon. My apologies. There's some stuff that is happening in my home, and so it's pretty loud over here. My name is Mireya Williams. She, her are my pronouns. I am providing support to the Oregon Consumer Advisory Council, which this is a subcommittee of. And I am just happy to be in company with you all today and just appreciate your work.
Thank you. And Drake, I see you joined us. You're the last person. We're just doing brief introductions, if you would like to go.
Drake Eubank, Eugene, Oregon, co-chair of the Legislative Benefits and Human Rights Committee.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Drake. Glad you're here. Okay, then. So it sounds like Sharm does have the minutes that we could look at, and I'm so appreciative of
Yes.
that. Awesome. Do you mind sharing them with us, and we can go over those?
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes. Okay, so the last meeting was November 19th. We had present at that meeting Kevin Fitz, Luke Walters, Molly Griggs, Rose Kunal, Drake Eubank, Isaiah Mitchell, myself, Rhea, Marquita Corley. If you can scroll down for us. And Sharmali was here as well, doing ORR support. Okay. So this meeting focused on the PSRB survey project. I designated it like a work party, so we really got to discuss the progress and also collect ideas with great group discussion about different places that we could outreach to and some outreach to with the PSRB surveys and compiling those lists. And that work is happening. It's a little bit of a pause right now, just to say, because we're still waiting on some information that we need before we can proceed with the project. So I'm hoping in the new year, we'll be able to get that information. Just as a little update while we're doing the notes. You can scroll down more, Sharm, thank you. Yeah, we've talked about different organizations and networks to reach out to, peer-run organizations, clubhouses, addiction support groups. We also talked a bit about a member's concern about the project scope and the lack of administrative support that we've been able to receive for a project this big. And that was affirmed by a lot of people in the committee. Okay. Says I will send out a list of outreach ideas. I haven't done that yet because we're still compiling that and working on it. Yeah, and then once we have that list compiled and once we get the answers back, we can move forward on the PSRB survey. So, does anybody have anything that they need to add to these minutes? Or amend? And if that is not the case, then we could have somebody perhaps move
I make a
to,
motion that we accept the minutes as written.
what's the motion? Is it like the wave? Is it a head roll? Is it a shoulder shrug? Does anybody second it? Thanks, Molly.
Sure.
Second.
Hmm. Hi, Rose. Welcome. I didn't see you join us because we were in share screen mode. Okay, so if we have a second too, so if people would like to either say aye or make a little check, that green check mark. If you're voting
Abstain, I
yes,
wasn't there.
JD is abstaining. If we can
Aye.
notate that. Rose said aye. Looks like, Luke, did you say aye?
Yeah, I said approve.
I like to say it like I and pretend like you can tell from that that I'm doing some sort of Irish or
Aye,
Scottish
matey.
accent. Okay. So the yeses are Rose, Rhea, Molly, Luke, Drake, and then we have one abstention. All right. Thank you all. Let's see now. I don't see any members of the public present except for our guest. And so that's going to be our segue into welcoming our guests. So Luke, did you want to introduce Ashley since you have more of a connection and you're the one that really made this happen, having Ashley come and join us. Do you want to introduce her?
Oh, that sounds like a grand idea. Yeah, I'm a part of the PSRB community. So when I found out about the Lotus House, I was really excited to learn more. And I asked some of our members if anybody knew about Lotus House and how to connect, and did some research and found out through the PSRB monitor for Lane County how to get in touch, and right away was able to connect with Ashley, and thank you for providing me the information with the brochures and stuff to learn more about it. And then it just made so much sense to invite you to present about the successes and the program and find out how we can support moving forward and build upon these successes. So I'm glad that you're here, Kendall, also, because there's a connection that we can build upon. So Ashley, the executive director of Live Grow Share, I hope you can share some about your other programs that your organization offers as well. Really excited to hear about all of this. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Luke. And thank you, Ashley. With that, just, take it away. Let us know what you need from us in terms of support. And we might have just some like questions for you at the end of whatever you would like to present to us.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Luke, for that introduction. I need to give you a quick disclaimer. I have a bulldog now. He's our office mascot, but he also snores very loud. So if you hear snoring in the background, that's him. He's very sweet. We're getting him groomed to be able to go into therapy sessions with folks and give some emotional support. So yeah, and then I need to apologize because I was supposed to attend a different one of your meetings and I didn't show up, and I'm so sorry that happened, but here today, happy to share about any and everything. We have a lot of different programs going on. I know you all are interested in the with the Lotus House, and we can talk about that. We're a peer-run organization, so everyone who works here has lived experience, myself included, in at least one area or another. So we hire, we have therapists, we have drug and alcohol counselors, we have lots of peer support, we have administrative staff, and all of us have lived experience. We were pretty new here in Lane County as an organization. We started last September 2023. and have really just hit the ground running. We have our outpatient clinic open. We do mental health treatment. We do drug and alcohol treatment. We're integrated co-occurring disorders approved through OHA. So that includes, eating disorders, gambling, and intellectual and developmental disabilities. Lots of different peer programs. We have a program specifically for individuals who are involved with child welfare called Dragonflies. And so our peers in that program have personal lived experience going through the child welfare system, had their family reunified and their case closed. And then we help navigate those systems with advocacy and education and empowerment. That one's pretty close to my heart. I worked in the child welfare system for a long time, both on the inside and the outside. And I have some pretty strong opinions about things over there, as I'm sure many of you do. And then we have horses. We do equine peer support. We have a shop where we have a mechanic who teaches, mechanic skills and peer support at the same time. We have an outdoor program where we're taking folks out to do like day trips. They go hiking or go to the beach. They're going to go drive around and look at Christmas lights later this month. So we're really, our goal is to fill the gaps. We've been working in social services for a long time, and, we only serve the OHP population, and we know where, that folks on OHP don't have a lot of options, and you kind of gotta, accept what you're given, and we think that's crap. So we want to give lots of different, creative, holistic options for treatment. We do harm reduction. Our drug and alcohol treatment is individualized. We don't force people to come sit in groups for hours per week to learn about how bad it is to do drugs. We just get out there and meet people where they're at. What else? Because we've been in social services, we know what the workforce is like out there as well, and how employees are treated, overworked and underpaid and not appreciated. And so we work really hard to create a positive work environment where all of our staff are supported, everyone's encouraged. Well, it's kind of a requirement. Everyone has to do their own personal work as well as the work with our clients. And we do 32-hour work weeks. We pay people higher than everywhere else. So really just trying to create something new, something that's not here. And we've just been growing like wildfire. So that's outpatient. And then the first foot in the door that we had to begin was a grant from OHA to open the Lotus House. And so that, I see a question. Is that you, Luke?
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering about your connection to nature. You were talking about your programs, and I was wondering what the nature element is. Is there gardening and stuff like that? Or is there interest in the range of activities?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll get into some of that when we get into the houses, because once the houses get open, there'll be a lot more opportunities for the garden and being outside.
Yeah.
And you were talking about like horses and stuff too. That's really exciting. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, Luke. And I'll just say, I think we'll, from this point on, just let Ashley finish with her presentation, and then we'll definitely have time for questions if people are able to hold it till the end.
Yeah, so the Lotus House is 16 beds for adults with primary diagnosis is mental health, but they can be co-occurring. And because it was OHA funded, the admission criteria is pretty strict. So they either need to be in the Lane County Choice Program, which is, to get into that, you kind of have to be in and out of the behavioral health unit of the hospital pretty frequently and need a higher level of care. They call it the choice program so that people have a choice where they go, but really there's nowhere to go. So it's like you can wait for a year and then maybe there will be some place to go that you can choose to go or stay on the streets. I don't know. So it's pretty bleak out here with residential treatment. So half beds are for that population, and then the other half are for PSRB. And yeah, we've had quite the journey with the Lotus House, and recently secured some Save Your Ass funding from Lane County to finish the project and get it open. That was supposed to be here in July. And you know, government or agencies just everything takes much longer than we would like. So we're still waiting for that. You know, it's been a pretty challenging journey with the Lotus House. Lots of people are waiting for beds, and we've had to tell them a couple more months, and so many folks have already have found different placements, but we have other folks waiting. But as soon as the money from the county gets here, we've got maybe 2 more months of a month of construction, and then however long it takes to get licensing finished. So our other home is called the Restwell House, and that is also primary mental health, can be co-occurring, and that's a young adults in transition home, 5 beds for 17 and a half to 24-year-olds. And that one has not had so many challenges, but everything takes a long time. I mean, we got the grant for that in June of 2023, and we just got the permits for that in September of this year. And we had someone start working on that immediately. And the amount of time everything takes is just ridiculous when people are waiting for homes. So that's the Restwell House is where our horses are. And then the Lotus House is where the shop is. And so those services will be open and prioritized for residential residents once the houses are open. And then, you know, when they'll still be available for outpatient, but residential will have first dibs on all of those services. We've been working with the University of Oregon. We have a whole slew of interns that put together this amazing project for the Lotus House to have creative, like sensory garden spaces, outdoor therapy rooms. We've got the Lotus House has 16 acres, and 3 of them behind the house are just woods. So we'll put you know, some tree houses
Wow.
there. Yeah, and some trails, and then the rest of it, most of it is field, and so we plan to get some folks in there who know how to farm, and then, you know, we want to do like job, you know, what's it called? Teaching people how to do jobs, teach people how to farm, how to you know, make jam, how to do ceramics. And then we have a really nice Saturday market around here, so we could have a booth someday, and the residents can run it and make money, and just really trying to like wrap around folks and help set them up for success, so that when they leave us, maybe they have a job and they have a place to live, and we're not just continuing with the cycle of unhoused, yeah, living on the streets and declining mental health, and then we're back in the same spot. So the Restwell House, we will also have some garden spaces, and we plan to do an outdoor pool area. I don't know if you guys have heard about those. It's pretty cool. And just, some stuff for young adults to just be kids, trampolines, and we want to do like a free wall so they can, do graffiti art and different cool things. So sky's the limit. We want to support residents and clients and staff members in really just sharing their gifts and whatever their passions are with our community, because those are the things that really heal us and make us happy. So the snoring's going strong over here. I don't know if you hear it.
I wish we
You
could
can't
hear
hear
the
it?
snoring. Can anybody
Oh.
else hear it? I want to hear the dog snoring really bad. Ashley, amazing. Thank you so much for letting us know about all those different projects. I've been like furiously but joyfully taking notes about everything that your program offered. And my questions, first question was, how do I come there and receive services? But
Yeah.
seriously, like how people are referred
Mhm.
to these excellent programs, like how they're able to find their way to your programs. I'll start there. That's my first question. And then I want to open it up for other people who have questions. JD, I see your hand up next.
Yeah. JD wants a job. I heard you were in Springfield. Yeah, people come on their own. You can self-refer. On our website, there's a get started or start here button, and you can do an online intake form. We have a little bit of a wait list, but we're just hiring as the need is there. So instead of like having people on a 3-month to year-long wait list, we just want to keep expanding, especially for mental health. That's just, our SUDS hasn't really needed to wait for very long, but the mental health list is pretty long. So we have drop-in hours where people can come in if they've been on the wait list and they just want to come in, get an assessment and get hooked up right away. So there's kind of a cheat code there. But yeah, we get referrals from Pacific Source, Trillium, Lane County, other organizations within our area. Really anybody can refer. And you just have to have OHP. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. JD, your question.
2 questions. One's a really quick one. Ashley, is Live Grow Share part of the Lane County Harm Reduction Coalition?
No.
I will help hook you up later. It's a great group of us who get together from different organizations to cross-refer and support one another. And then on your website, it looked like you're currently hiring for master's level and higher. When are you hoping to bring on peers and CADCs? I'm an ICOD peer who happens to have almost every initial possible, including gambling, after my name.
Awesome. Yeah. So we just have those posted because we pretty much are always hiring for therapists, because there's always a need. And so we just kind of take those as they come. Once the house is open, we will be hiring more peers, because many of the peers were ready to work at the houses like 2 years ago, and we didn't have a house for them to work at. So they started working in outpatient. So they'll be moving over. There'll be a lot of shifting around. So if anybody's interested, I would just send me, a resume and a cover letter, and we can set up times to meet.
Thank you.
I hear you.
Luke, you have your hand up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hi, Ashley. The question about the nature influence was a particular meaning because in my time of developing a peer wellness specialization, I realized that the nature element is vital for our success and recovery and resiliency and wellness. And the popular paradigm that's available, especially in the PSRB community, is the clinical corrections agencies, and it identifies us as problems and threats to society and offers us these medications and stuff like that to diminish our risk factors, but it doesn't address the need for our soul and our support and our wellness in that vital aspect, which is our nature. And so that's why I wanted to suggest that the peer-round respites could connect with with your programs and see how to establish a similar effort within the PSRB community, because Kendall is the ORR staff member that is the peer on respites coordinator, and one of the initial questions that I had for you was, are you interested in Live, Grow, Share collaborating with other organizations for mutual benefit and expanding upon the supports that are available in our communities? And your answer to that was yes, but you don't know much of the other organizations that are operating in Oregon yet. So I've been working to connect the dots, and New Narratives is also really interested, but their agency is focused on clinical programs currently. That'll change eventually, hopefully, and interested in continuing along and offering these supportive programs for multiple communities. The other two questions that I had initially were, what are the barriers you've experienced, the challenges, and how we can support to overcome those? You addressed a little bit of that. And then I also asked the third question, which was your ideal resident. And I think you mentioned that personality disorders present some challenges to accommodate, and I'm hoping that, in time we can establish more programs to support more communities and more communities and more communities together. So thanks for coming and giving the presentation. And where do we go from here?
Thank you, Luke, for those questions. Ashley?
Yeah, so did I answer your question about the nature stuff, or did you still have more questions? I wasn't unclear about that.
Oh, you answered and more, because that's where I've been wanting to go as well. The job opportunities, the farming, the production of crafts locally. We need to stop buying from the mega corporations nearly as much. We need to start producing these things that we love for our communities, that nourish and more sustainable. And it sounds like you're on the same track too. Inspiring.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, and then the most recent question about personality disorders. So we've been saying no to folks with personality disorders like borderline, antisocial right now, and for folks with sex offenses, because as we're just opening, we have a lot of, we're all pretty new to this, to residential treatment. We'll have a brand new staff. And so we just want to kind of like ease into it and, get our bearings. And then as we get more confident and comfortable with the work that we're doing, we can expand if that seems like the right thing to do. But yeah, that's where we're at right now, just kind of starting off to not bite off more than we can chew. And then you had questions about the barriers to opening. We've had beyond the general barriers with timelines, funding, getting here when it's supposed to get here, the counties and cities. I mean, I think I will just say actively working against homes like this opening. Those were the main ones. And then the Lotus House, we had some personal problems too that we had to work out internally. So yeah, it's been a journey. We are all continuing to learn and grow in all of our roles. But we're coming out on top, and it's gonna open someday.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And
like
I think,
a lotus.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lotus unfolds. Yep.
And I'm in support of you naming the reality, right? What we observe, what we witness, what we experience, like needs to be named. And sometimes I find myself very frustrated with any language of diplomacy around specific topics personally. So I have one question that was in the chat that JP asked was, do you have any services for veterans and their families? And then after that, you answer that, then Sharmali is going to ask a question.
Yes, so no specific programs. And we're learning, I learned from someone at, what's the psychiatric inpatient in Portland, starts with the C? I don't remember. It's a hospital.
You talking about?
Cedar Hills.
Oh,
like-
Cedar Hills.
Yeah, I met with Molly, maybe is her name over there, and she was helping me understand the different funding streams that folks who are veterans can access so that they can still get OHP services. So we're learning about that. We do have some veteran peers who work with us, and we want to develop veteran specific services. We also had the VA come out and learn a little bit about what we were doing. They were really excited and wanted to start working together. We haven't had the time and energy to really to devote to that right now, but it is definitely on the to-do list.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Sharm, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Hi, Ashley. This is Sharmali Raja. It's good to see
Hi.
you. We met like maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
yeah, it sounds like your program has really expanded since then. So this is so exciting. But I was just reading on your site that it says that even your therapists and nurses have lived experience with either SED or mental health, which is absolutely amazing. I had no clue. And so could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a requirement. And so when we hire, we say we can't ask people in interviews what their lived experience is, but we can make it known that that's a requirement. And then if people choose to share about it, they do. And then how we support folks with lived experience in having these roles, obviously as an employee, is to have more support. In their role, we do a lot of emotional support around here, a lot of processing things and working through things with our employees. And then in clinical settings, we just encourage our providers to disclose their lived experience when it seems appropriate. And we, just like you would with peer support, that we give training around how to do that in a way that's therapeutically beneficial rather than we're not just trying to tell our story and make it about us. We're trying to use our story to help someone else feel comforted or inspired or fill in the blanks. Does that
Yeah,
answer?
thank you. It did. Yeah, it's so exciting because, I've never heard of it at every level of an organization, requiring lived experience. I'm not sure if anyone else, who's on the call, if you know of any other organizations doing this, like let me know. But this is just so exciting to me. So yeah, thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I know JP, you had your hand up again and then put your email in the chat. I'm guessing, but no, you please tell us why.
So Ashley, one of the other roles I do as a retired service member is and a person who's worked as a veteran peer for several years. I love to connect with peers who are veterans, even if they're not working in that space. And so please give out my email freely if you can see it. Love to connect. And also, there might be some other ways if you're interested with working that population that I can support that and help connect you to some other resources.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I think we're going to be winding down and moving on to address a couple more things in our subcommittee, but I have one more question, but I also just want to say, I want to emphasize something that you said in all of the amazing things that you've shared with us today, how we need options to different forms of support. And this whole funnel us into therapy and pills could work for some people and it doesn't work for a lot of us. And I'm just so grateful to hear about your program providing all these other avenues that I know for me being in nature is the most important thing, right? For my mental health, for my journey, right? So being able to just name that those are needs that people have and then offer them in this holistic way is just, I teared up a few times as you were sharing because I'm so excited to hear about everything that you're doing. One practical question that I have, and then JD, I see your hand up and you'll be our last question, I think, if that's okay, everybody. You mentioned working with people who have the co-occurring issue of having both a mental health diagnosis and intellectually or developmentally disabled. In particular, I'm interested in that because I hear a lot from the peers that work at the organization that I work at, and just in my own experiences of working and supporting people, I found like not a lot of really accessible information on and training, right, on how we best support people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities and also a co-occurring mental health diagnosis or challenge. Do you have any ideas for where to look or anything to share about that?
I mean, OHA has been putting out a lot of stuff lately because they're really focusing on those two. So there's to become an ICOD provider, you have to do all of these trainings that they have on Acorn. They're free. And then they just come out with different things. There's community of practice trainings once a month. Or well, no, they happen 4 times a month, but there's different topics. And so there's topics around intellectual and developmental disabilities once a week, I believe. If you need links to any of this stuff, just let me know. And so that's pretty helpful. Yeah, and just internal trainings. We have a lot of folks with cognitive delays, and it's just another way of meeting someone where they're at. You know, there's not a copy and paste or a strict, you know, guidelines of how to do all of the work with different kinds of people, but we do our best.
Awesome, thank you, and thanks for that link in the chat, JD. And your last question, and then we'll move on to something else.
Thank you for presenting today, Ashley. I was wondering if you could put your contact information in the chat for us, please.
Yeah.
And it sounds like some people are already cruising on your website, but maybe also just sharing your website. So so everybody has access and knows how to find you that way as well. Thank you so much. Ashley, so amazing. I'm sure I speak for everybody here to just say, wow, like very excited to hear about the programs that you're doing. Amazing work. And you're welcome to come back anytime and update us. And if there's anything that you feel like the Oregon Consumer Advisory Council and the Trauma Informed Systems Subcommittee could assist with in terms of just advocating for things that you need, let us know. And thank you so much for being here. And you're welcome to stay for the last 15 minutes, but you're also, you know, if you got to rush off and take care of that snoring dog, I understand.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Ashley.
Bye.
Thanks, Ashley. Farewell.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to bring up to the group today is, and I'm sure probably most of us have heard of this already, but the civil commitment legislation that NAMI is trying to push through the legislative session this year. I really feel like this is something that I would like to see the Trauma Informed Systems Subcommittee at least make some kind of a statement, or let's see what we can do to get involved with this in particular. And I'm just going to share my screen so we can look at this a little bit more. So you can see here, this is just the Disability Rights Oregon page, just in general about the civil commitment in Oregon, has some different information about it. And then let's just look at some of this information though, right? Like Oregon pays $321,000 to forcibly commit one person for 180 days. Right? So does civil commitment work? Obviously, no. It often creates additional trauma for people and make people resistant to getting the care and support that might be beneficial for them in the future. So what I want to point out is here, let's see. So here's a page that they have if you want to, as an individual, get involved with helping Disability Rights Oregon work on this issue in the 2025 legislative session. So here is what NAMI is pushing. Arbitrary 30-day dangerousness standard. The proposed law will allow someone to be involuntarily committed based on predicting their behavior 30 days in the future. This is unconstitutional and goes far beyond existing standards. No one can see the future. That's why no other state uses such a vague and extended timeline. This is also what we see happen with people who are under the jurisdiction of the PSRB. But this is
Exactly.
just, right? But this is just applying it to anybody. Oh, they could be dangerous in 30 days. Overly broad definition of serious physical harm. The language is so unclear, it could allow judges to commit individuals for medical conditions unrelated to mental health. Someone with poorly managed diabetes, for instance, could be forcibly restrained and treated under this expanded definition simply because a judge assumes they won't take insulin. And then 3, removal of medical expertise. Today, a qualified mental health clinician must examine and decide whether a person is dangerous to themselves or others before the court can involuntarily commit them. NAMI's proposal threatens to remove critical medical judgment and replace it with a judge's speculative guess. So there is also, I know I haven't had a chance to read over the whole thing. I think I got through about a third of it, but the committee whose title actually is upsetting to me, the Commitment to Change work group, they just actually released their full report too, I think about a month ago, sometime in the last month. So, and there's some similar crossover here with this. So Luke, I know you had your hand up. I just wanted to share this information with folks and then invite some discussion on things that people might want to do together as a committee.
Yes, thank you, and very timely because I need to step out
Okay.
onward to the rest of my day here briefly. But I was pointing out how building upon the successes of Live, Grow, Share could serve other communities. I was alluding to the correlation with our PSRB survey, which is a step towards finding out what's needed to be improved, and having more peer involvement is one of those aspects. So the civil commitment community is one of those communities that I'm identifying where we need these kind of programs to benefit people. There's also like foster care systems, orphanages, people who are aid and assist, the 370 populations, more peer involvement. What that looks like here at this facility I'm living at, there's a small department of peer support workers here. There's like 5 people in it currently, and there's more than 1,000 employees working here. There's a vast disparity. We need to ask for more parity, at least like I'm thinking maybe quadruple the amount of people working here with lived experience and peer support capacities. That's what this future looks like we're proceeding into. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate this phenomenal meeting today. Thank you,
You,
everyone.
Luke. You are instrumental in making this meeting happen today and introducing us to Ashley, for example, and for so many other reasons. Other thoughts, questions? Yeah, Molly.
I was at an event where I was seated near Chris Bonoff, who is the executive, he's the person who's responsible for this bill. And he indicated that if Oregon Consumer Advisory Council would like him to, he would be willing to come to our meeting and talk about the bill and field our questions. So that's out there.
Thanks, Molly, for sharing that. It would be something, how long is the session this year? Is it a short? I think it's a short one, isn't it? So I'm just trying to think of timing wise.
This is long session this year.
Oh, it is. Thank you. Okay. All right. So that's something that maybe the full council, I don't know.
For this committee, I mean, it does, we could do it in this committee, we could do it in the full council. So, however,
I'll yield to what members of the committee would like to have happen.
My committee could also do it.
if people are interested, I will follow up with Chris and find out when he could do that.
I think the more information we get, the better off we all are. So yeah, I'd like to hear what he has to say. Thanks.
Same here.
Would people like to then, Drake offered the legislation Benefits and Human Rights Subcommittee. Is that correct, Drake? So there's that choice, or it sounds like the folks of the Trauma Informed Systems Subcommittee would like to make this meeting available for that as well. Do I hear that right?
Yeah, it's pretty early next month. It's the first Tuesday, so
Okay.
coming up pretty quick,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. So Molly, it sounds like, is gonna reach out though and offer those 2 spots in January and maybe the other one in February, if depending on what he's able to do. I know that this is coming up. I don't know the timeline yet for it, so I'm sorry I don't have all that information yet, but I know that it's coming up quickly.
Great.
Yes, yes, Drake.
Unfortunately, I could speak at great length to the processes that usually go on each session. There's always a commitment bill wanting to expand the commitment criteria. That has never failed since the mid 90s that I know of. They have NAMI or its organization. They have an organization that does legislation. Part of their organization just does legislation. That used to be run by Doris Menard, who was the wife of a psychiatrist and has progressed through the years. Now I think Chris Boniff manages a large board of people that are insistent upon their kids getting better access to forced treatment. But we have gone to Salem like a pilgrimage every 2 years, trying to get these things back in the bottle. And they've recently enlisted the help of the legislature and the DOJ. And it's been a more and more effective partnership at trying to get these things. I got into a debate on the radio with one of the judges that was on the committee, and they are really adamant about changing the law from what it is already. That's everything.
Yeah, thank you, Drake. I would love, I appreciate your perspective on that. It does seem like, yeah, that's the case every year. But this year it does seem like there's momentum with this bill. I don't know if I'm reading that correctly, but it does seem like there's just more of a push or drive in support of this legislation. And then also, I don't know whether that has anything to do with the work being completed by the Commitment to Change subcommittee here in Multnomah County. Okay, I'm sorry. I see that we're at public comment time. Again, I don't think we have anybody. No. Okay, so we can continue to use our time. Is there anything else that people want to bring up around this? Do you want to, sounds like we're maybe going to invite Chris to come in and present about this bill. Is there anything else that the subcommittee would like to do moving forward around this topic, or is there other business that members of the subcommittee would like to bring up? Yes, Marquita.
I know it's a little off topic. Okay, it's a lot off topic, but I wanted to share with everyone that I spoke with Tanya and Laura, and they want to honor paying oh, I'm having a brain fart. I've been having them all day.
Apocalypse.
The registration and scholarships.
Thank you so much. Yes, registration and scholarships for members of the council who are members as of right now. I know in the ARPA funds meeting we were discussing ARPA funds to pay for individual scholarships. So I just wanted to share that news with everyone.
What is the news?
Thank you so much.
Could you repeat what the news was?
The news was that MHAL will honor paying the scholarships for the members who are members as of right now. So if we moving forward with the new decision and everything, once we get new members, if depending on when they come aboard, we would have to worry about getting those covered, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But as of the members as of right now are covered for Peer Apocalypse. Okay. And there will be an email going out as well for further information to be collected.
Thank you, Marquita, for that information, for that update. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. JD, did you want to, you had your hand up, didn't you? Or did I imagine
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it auto
Okay.
went down when I bleeped in to help
Oh.
out with saying a pure apocalypse. Yeah, I trauma informed not only as a lens that we share back information to OHA, but also how we support each other in OCAC. And I think it would be really beneficial. I wish everybody could have gone to the training that we went to that was so informative, which with the TIS training with transponder. But we have an opportunity to create a standard response to criticism that is more healthy. I'm going to be hurt sometimes. And I need to know that I can say, hey, Rhea, I was really hurt when you said this one thing. Can we have a different way of talking about this? And it's not tearing people down, it's actually bringing people closer together.
Yeah.
And so I was wanting to know if, as a committee, we can come up with what we can expect from each other in response to healthful criticism.
That's a great suggestion, JD. And I know that we have talked in the subcommittee about how, exactly as you said, how can we create processes and practices within OCAC that are also trauma informed? And again, that's like something that we're striving for, right? It's like a vision that is carrying us that we hope we're able to achieve. And we're not always going to be able to do that, right? We've all made missteps, I know, and mistakes, and not being very trauma informed in how we communicate with one another. And I know that I'm speaking for myself too. I know that I've done that. So what I'm hearing though, just to put it into language, is could we perhaps as a subcommittee take on the task of developing and outlining a process that we could suggest? This is the way that we might want to, as committee members, address, react, respond when we either are met with criticism or when we maybe have something that was, like I say, an ouch, that we want to say, hey, that was an ouch, that hurt, actually. Can we talk about that? Yeah. Did that kind of reflect what you were asking for? Okay. Then I would say yes, and I will try to make that be on our next agenda for us to take some time to talk about that. Yeah. Marquita.
JD, I just love you. That was a great question. I think that is so needed because I find myself choosing to not say certain things. Just because I can't figure out in my brain if what I'm about to say is nice enough. And I'm just being honest. And so I do most definitely appreciate OCAC because it's most definitely helping me to learn to keep my tongue when I am doubtful. So I think that would be very great. I would love for us to create that space. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I just want to, thanks, Marquita. I just want to acknowledge it's 1:02, and so our time is over. Thanks everybody for showing up today. I'm just going to say to members of the subcommittee, I won't be as available because of some personal stuff going on for me in the next month, but I will be definitely back in full availability about a week before this subcommittee meeting happens so that I can really put together what that subcommittee meeting will look like. But until then, if you don't hear from me, that's why. All right. And I just want people to know I'm not like intentionally ignoring you. I've decided that I need to focus on some personal matters that are happening in my life for that time. So thanks for your understanding, and I will see you all again in January.
Thank you all. Take care, everyone. Wonderful to see everyone today.
You guys.
See some of you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
See everyone. Thank you.
See you all.